Hello, traders. It is Wednesday, July 15th. It's after the close, and that must mean that it's time for the weekly swing trading video. We've had a week where the market really hasn't done a whole lot. You can see here on the chart, this is a daily chart. After testing that 200-day moving average once, twice, we've had a nice bounce, and then we've been sitting within striking distance of this relative high right here set on June 8th. That level is SPY 323.40. And we've tried to come up to it twice, and we've backed off of it both times. So you can see how the market was right back up on that high today, had a nice finishing close. There's a good chance that we're going to be challenging that high. Earnings season is unwinding. The banks are starting to report. So far, so good. The news has been better than feared, but the focus is really going to be on tech stocks. So big tech starts to report next week, and we're going to get a heavy dose of it. We do have eBay. We've got Netflix on tap this week. So those stocks will be interesting, but it's really not going to drive the market very much from a tech perspective. The banks have been okay. They're also not fueling the rally very much. Buyers tend to be very engaged into these mega cap tech earnings, and for good reason. They are responsible for leading this massive rally higher. If you look at the QQQ has been making new all-time highs thanks to Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, Google. This handful of big cap tech stocks accounts for 20% of the S&P 500. So this rally that we've seen is very highly concentrated. You can see how the QQQ is doing fantastic, but the SPY is nowhere near that new all-time high at approximately 334. We're a long ways away from it. So we've got a lot of industrials, we have energy stocks, we have financials, we have retail. Those are all in the S&P 500. Those sectors have really been struggling. So you can see in the course of the last week how that 312 to that 322 level, that 100-point range, has held pretty firm on the SPY. I'm expecting that we're going to float higher. I believe we're going to get up to maybe the 324 level. But once mega cap tech stocks have announced earnings, with Apple being the last one to report on July 30th, once they've all reported, sellers get a little bit more aggressive. You start to see some profit taking come in. As we get into August, you've got politicians going on recess. You have the coronavirus growing. Yes, we'll probably get another round of stimulus. So these are all good things, but the market gets pretty spooked when everybody's away from Washington, D.C. By the time we get back at the end of the summer, the focus will be on the elections. Right now, Joe Biden has an 11-point lead in the polls. We know that he's going to repeal some of the Trump tax credits. The market does not like that. Now, we've got almost 3 months until the election, so there's plenty of time for things to change. I'm just saying that if we go out about 6 or 7 weeks from now, and if everything remains constant, I think we're going to start to see some selling pressure. Also, the economic recovery is very, very sluggish. You have major cities, Houston, I believe they're talking about it in California as well, that are going to a complete shutdown. We have many states that are still in phase 3, so they account for 40% of the domestic GDP. We're talking about a considerable part of the country is still partially shut down. You have consumers. They're just not wanting to go out to restaurants yet. Yes, there are some developments on the vaccine front. We saw that mRNA, Moderna, had positive news. Astrazeneca is a stock that we've been following in the chat room. It had a really good day today. It's been moving higher. AstraZeneca is producing 3 billion doses of vaccine that hasn't even gotten through the clinical trials yet. They're that confident in it. So 600 million of those doses are going to be distributed to the U.S., and they're going to get it here by the end of September, beginning of October. If what they have does what they think it will, wow, that could be a game changer because then the vaccine's already distributed as well. Can't say that I'm going to bank on that happening, certainly, but we'll see how everything plays out. AZN is not going to make the list tonight, but I think it's a stock that you'll want to keep an eye on. I'll put it up very quickly, and you can see that from a technical standpoint, I love this horizontal breakout through resistance, and I love this big spike here in volume, and I believe it's up a little bit after hours. The reason I didn't want to put it on the list was because it's very speculative. And when I've got something that's very newsy like this and there's news pending on it, I don't want to have a small credit that I'm bringing in and a lot of risk. So even though we could go way below this horizontal support, if you're a day trader, great, you can take a position like that, no problem. But this is really intended for swing traders. Many of you work during the day. You're not able to react to newsy type of stocks. So I decided I'm not going to do a bullish put spread on AZN, but keep an eye on it. I think that it could do very, very well over the course of the next week or two. So I'm going to put up last week's trades and we'll take a look at the staged order entry screen. And you can see the 4 trades here. We canceled those. We were not able to get in on them. And I decided Sunday night when I released the video, I had a better trade for us to try and get in on. These were away and we had missed that opportunity. They had rallied. So that's fine. And that was CHWY. We took a pass on that. AMD put spread. We took a pass on that. FedEx, Alibaba. So those were all canceled. But I did see a really nice little trade. So we were able to get in on the SPCE trade. We sold the July 31 15 puts and we bought the 14 puts, and we did that for a credit of 20 cents. So let me back this out. Let's take a quick look at the stock, see how it's performing. And here you can see that firm support level right there on the 200-day moving average. That comes into play at the $15 price level. That support should hold, and that 100-day moving average should hold. It held this week when we saw some selling, so we've got a couple weeks left to go. I really like this trade. I think this one's going to work out well for us. The next one that we were able to get in on was the MOMO July 24th. Expires a week from Friday. We sold the 19 put and we bought the $18 put. Now I need to address this one a little bit because I said that we were going to sell the 19 puts and buy the 1850s and do that for a dime credit. That spread is fine. If you did either trade, it really doesn't matter because our risk reward is exactly the same. If you sold the 1918 for 20 cents, we're going to make a 25% profit on it. If you sold the 1918 and a half put for a dime, we still stand to make 25% on it. So either one of those two spreads is fine. I apologize for that error, and we will manage that trade accordingly. MOMO has not been behaving, but part of that was because of overnight news that we had from China. The U.S. has removed some of its favorable status for Hong Kong, and that weighed on Chinese stocks. So you can see how the stock pulled back, but it has been able to find support the last 2 days right at that $19 level. So all we need is a little bit of a drift higher, and we'll be fine on that. I am looking to hold that position. If anything changes, it will come in the form of an overnight email that I would send out to you. So we'll all have a chance to adjust the position together. I'm not going to send anything out intraday. But every day that we have this spread on, and every day that it's able to maintain that $19 support level, that works in our favor. So if we can just get through the next 2 days, Thursday and Friday, we come in Monday. If I change my mind and we want to get out of the trade, the stock is still above $19, we may even be able to buy that stock or that spread back and scratch the trade. But for right now, I'm okay with the trade. We had a little bit of a market pullback. There's been a little bad news on the Chinese front, but I think that's going to settle out. So that was the second trade that we were able to get off was MOMO. Next on the list was Amgen. we were able to sell the July 24th 240 puts, and we bought the 237.50 puts, and we did that for a 50-cent credit. So let's take a look at Amgen, see how that's doing. I like this one. You can see how it came back, scared us a little bit this week on that big market decline that we had on Tuesday, but it opened lower and it ran higher all day. So now we've got nice cushion once again, and you can see how that horizontal support that we're leaning at 245 held beautifully. So this looks like it's going to be a really good spread. We only have another week and 2 days on that one. I'm liking it so far. So we'll go back, take a look at another spread that we have on. This one is toast, meaning it's going to expire worthless and we will make a maximum profit on this one. We sold the Walmart July 17, 117 puts. We bought the 116 puts. We did that for a 20-cent credit. That is going to be a 25% winner in 2 days. How can you say that, Pete? Nothing's for sure until 3 o'clock on Friday. 3 o'clock Central Time. You can see how Walmart has had this huge move higher. The stock's currently at $132. In 2 days, is it going to shed 15 points? I doubt it. It would have to come all the way back down here and breach these major horizontal support levels. So not going to happen. But you can see the spread still trading. 5 cents bid offered at 10 cents. Don't waste your money. This thing's going to expire worthless. So that was another nice trade that we had on. Whoops, sorry, I need to get this back in here. CHWY, we were short the July 10 46 puts. We were long the 45 puts. We did that for a 20-cent credit. This expired last Friday. Beautiful trade. Now we had a little bit of an issue. The stock pulled back temporarily. It's a nice winner, 25% gainer. So let's take a look at CHWY. I did not like the price action that I saw last week. I didn't like this pullback off the high and this bearish hammer right here. So we canceled that trade. I decided I did not want to do it, but we were going to be moving down to a lower strike price, down to this $44 strike price. So we would have had a little bit more breathing room. Choppy stock, didn't want to risk it, have something go in the money on us, but the trade that we had done previously worked out really well. And there you can see the trade that we canceled was for the July 24th expiration cycle. So that leaves us with 2 little positions that we have on. These are also pretty toasty. They expire July 17th. One is BZUN, one is BILI. These stocks are both about $6 or more out of the money with 2 days left to go. Both of them are offered at a nickel. So 2 really nice trades, I believe, on BZUN. We made about 15% on one, and I think we made 12% on the other for the naked put rights. Really nice trades, excellent trades. And I believe they spanned about 3 weeks. So for 3-week return of 12% or 15%, I'll do those types of trades all day long. Very, very high degree of probability on those. So now we're ready to take a look at what we're going to be doing for this week. And I'm doing something that I talk about often. I talk about a special search that I have in Option Stalker, and it is called Buy into Earnings. And you can see it right here in the left margin. And I've been telling you, this list is going to grow because all of these companies will report inside of the next 2 weeks. So at very most, these earnings announcements would be 2 weeks out. In some cases, they're a few days out. In all cases, these stocks have a tendency to rally into the number. So what we want to do is we want to be looking for opportunities to sell out of the money bullish put spreads. Well, what if the stock stays flat? No problem. We love that with out of the money bullish put spreads or even at the money bullish put spreads. Stock rallies a little bit, rallies a lot. We win in all of those cases. So 75% of the time or more over the last 3 years, these stocks rally into earnings. That is a huge statistical advantage, and we're going to use it this week, and we're going to be selling options, weekly out of the money bullish put spreads that expire on July 24th. So I've got 4 nice trades set up for you. What I did was I went through this list, and the process that I used was I looked at stocks that had not rallied much. So we'll use Abbott for example. One of the criteria was, has the stock rallied a lot recently? If it has, then maybe the move is already over and I don't want to go into it. So it could not have rallied much. The second thing is I wanted the stock near horizontal support, something that I could lean on. And the third thing is that it had to have earnings after 724. And the reason for that is because I could sell the 724 expiration date. So when I went through the list, I found 4 candidates that I really like that fit the bill. So the first one that we're going to be taking a look at is TWLO. And here you can see there's the last earnings announcement for the stock. Again, 75% of the time or more, this stock has a tendency to rally 2 weeks into the earnings announcement. Big gap up on earnings, a little bit of a compression, gradual grind higher, comes back, it checks his breakout right here, 2 long tails under body. Okay, I think we've got something pretty decent to hang our hat on. Is the stock going to move higher? We don't care. As long as it holds this support level right through here, which that's about $210, we're going to go down to these tails right here, which is $205. Let me use the cross tool here. That is the support that we want to lean on. 1, 2, almost 3. So we've got some touches there. That's what we want to use. So we'll bring up the order entry screen here. Hover over that E. Make sure you're checking that E. You can see earnings release date 7/29. So we're in good shape there. Now we just have to take a look at those 7/24 expiration options. And if I go down, I want to sell the 205 puts and I want to buy the 202.50 puts. And you should already know that we've got 2.5 points between the strike prices, so we're going to be looking for a 50-cent credit on this. So to recap the trade, we are going to sell the TWLO July 24 puts, 205 strike price, and we're going to buy the July 24 202.50 puts. Do that for a 50-cent credit, good till cancel. This is all ready to go in your staged order entry screen. So that's the first trade. I like it. I think we've got plenty of distance. The stock really hasn't done a whole lot. It's been able to hold up well. I like these 2 candles right here. We're just below them. We're inside of that 2-week window. This stock should grind higher. So next on the list, we're going to take a look at PayPal. PayPal's been in a really nice steady grind. You can see this upward sloping trend line here. You can see a couple tails under body right here. 1, 2, 3. That is a horizontal support level. That's what we're looking for. We are going to lean on that, and it comes into play right at that $165 strike price right there. And again, 75% or more of the time over the last 3 years, this stock has had a tendency to rally into the number, which they are going to be posting results on 7/29. And by the way, we've got mega cap tech earnings that week too, so I think the overall market tone is going to be quite good going into Google, Apple. I think Microsoft announces then as well. So big earnings that week. Should be pretty good market bid still at that time. So let's take a look and see how those options line up. We're going to put in PayPal. Going to go to that July 24th date. And we're going down to the 165s. Click on that bid. click on the 162.50s. Now, the one thing that I did not mention on TWLO, and I should have, because I'm actually doing that for a 40-cent credit. So given the error that I had last week, let's go back and take a look at that. I need to make sure I get this right. So TWLO, and this is the only one that I'm doing a smaller credit on. So again, we're going to be selling the 205 put, and we're going to be buying the 202.50 put, and not 50 cents. We're only going to be looking for a 40-cent credit. The reason for that is I don't think we're going to get to that 50-cent level. You can see the options are 3 cents bid, offered at 57 cents. We've got to be somewhere closer in the middle. This stock does move. TWLO does move. So we are going to need the stock to move. You can see these long tails here. It's visited that 314 level, 214 level, and here it visited the 217 level, let's say, and it closed at 224. So that's a 7-point move. If we get a $7 move in this stock in the course of the next 2 days, we could see that spread trade for our 40-cent credit. I don't think we can push it and try for 50 cents on this one, especially since it is only a week and 2 days out from that expiration cycle. So it's very, very tough to get that premium back in the options when you're so close to the expiration date. So I'm glad I caught that error on my part. 40-cent credit only on TWLO. Everything else will be using our standard 25% model. Excuse me. So back to PayPal. Here we are looking to sell the July 24 162.50 puts, and we're going to be buying, we're selling the 165 puts, and we're selling the 165 puts, we're buying the 162.50s, and here we will be looking to do that for a 50-cent credit. And in this case, this is one trade that I think we're going to get filled on very, very quickly, because you can see it's 41 cents bid, offered at 78 cents. I probably could squeeze this a little bit. So if you come in tomorrow, put the order in if you can't watch the market, okay? Get your 50 cents, period. If you're a trader, though, and you see that the market's down overnight, or you want to try and get 60 cents for it, 65 cents, please use your discretion. Okay, for a lot of you that are not able to monitor the market, just go with the 50 cents. Let's get the trade done. I think that the support level is going to hold. I think that the stock is going to grind higher into earnings. So, recap, PayPal, we're selling the July 24 165 put, buying the July 24 162.50 put, and we're doing that for a credit of 50 cents. It's already in the staged order screen. So let's move on to the next one. Take a look at the next stock, Facebook. Facebook hasn't gone far, and that's one of the reasons that we can still do a trade on this. It has not been grinding higher, even though it's inside that 2-week window yet. So I feel that it has yet to make that move, and that support should be holding. And if I take a look at where that support lines up on this one, I like this support level right in here. I think that's a very, very strong support. Lots of touches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, we dipped below it a little bit in here. That had to do with advertisers pulling advertising from Facebook, but then the stock popped right back. So I don't think we're going to see any problems between now and then heading into the earnings. You can see here the earnings are on 7/29, and we're going to be keeping our distance right down in here. So I'm going to bring the option chain back up. We're going to enter Facebook. Going to go to the July 24th expiration cycle, and we're going to click on those 225 puts, and we're going to click on the 222.50 puts. And here we can see another one that we're probably going to be able to get done. because the options are 30 cents bid offered at 66 cents. So we don't have to move very far to get our 50-cent credit. So to recap, we're going to be selling the Facebook July 24 225 puts. We're buying the 222.50 puts, and we're doing this for a credit of 50 cents. That's also in the staged order entry screen. We're taking advantage of the probability that this stock is going to rally into the earnings announcement, that it hasn't moved much right now, and that we have major support levels that we will be able to lean on right at that 225 level. So that is trade number 3 for this week. And then finally, RH is one. I actually sold a bullish put spread on this one this week, expiring this Friday. You can see how tight the price action has been on RH. Lots of tails above body, and then finally we close above it. And so we had a new closing high today. I like this breakout. Usually the longer and tighter the breakout, the longer and tighter the range, the bigger the breakout and the more sustained the move. So I think this stock could actually run. I'm going to go and check the earnings date. 9/8 is the earnings date on that one. So we've got lots of time. This one actually is not known to rally into earnings. It may rally into earnings. It's just outside of that window so that I cannot determine whether or not it has that tendency. It doesn't report until September 8th, so it's a long way from earnings. On this one, we're simply trying to take advantage of the momentum that I think we're going to see as the stock continues to power through this breakout right here. So in this case, we want to go down right in here. You can see that is a technical support level. This is actually even more significant, probably comes into play at the 245 level. 1, 2, 3 touches in there. We've got a couple back here. This would be more significant right in here, but we couldn't get the credit that we wanted. I'm also trying to stay 1 week out on all these. I don't want to be out 2-3 weeks right now. You know that I'm super cautious in here. My short-term market perspective is bullish, but we get into the middle of August, I start getting progressively more bearish as we get to the end of August. I've had some questions. Pete, does that mean we buy puts now? No, no, no. You never buy puts until you have technical confirmation that the market is correcting and that the market is selling off. And we don't have any of that, not even remotely close. We start closing below the 200-day moving average, fine. Then you can start thinking about buying some puts. Guessing that there's a correction coming, we don't do that. Picking market tops is a great way to go bust. I've seen it so many times. So no, we are not buying puts. Well, does that mean we're going to be selling out of the money bearish call spreads? No. No, there are no signs that the market's going to roll over. I'm just being super cautious. I see some macro events that are starting to come into play. I see some timing, some seasonality that concerns me. That's why I want to make sure that we're playing it super safe. We've had such an incredible run, by the way. We have been all over the market making money January and February. Then we went to cash late in February, March, April, May, June, July. We have been killing it. I don't want to give that money back. We need to take a little bit of a pause. This is a very light period in the market. As soon as those earnings announcements come out toward the end of July, first week in August, you watch. Everything is going to go pancake flat for about 2 or 3 weeks. Everybody takes time off. We'll have choppy back and forth price action, and there may be a negative bias. So we want to avoid that. So let's take a look at RH, and we're going to get down to that $240 strike price. So let me bring this option chain back into play here. And we're going to stick with the July 24th expiration, and we're going to go down to the 240 strike price, which is right there. I'm going to click on that bid, and I'm going to click on that ask. So you can see that this spread is currently, it's actually a negative 10 cents bid offered at 40 cents. But this stock does have a tendency to move around. So we need a little bit of a pullback in the stock, but I think that there's a good chance that we might actually get that. So we're going to be selling the RH July 24th. Boy, I messed up. I'm on the wrong expiration cycle. As much as I'd like to sell a July 24th, we don't have enough premium for it. I'm looking at that right now, and with the stock looking like it's going to take off, I actually decided to go with the July 31st expiration. So this is going to give us a little bit more room to go down to that 240 strike. So there we go. This looks better. You can see the credits start to line up here. We're going to have to go out. We're going to have to do a little bit longer one here. Go out to the next option expiration date, which is the July 31st expiration. So on RH, we're going to be selling the July 31st 240 put, and we're going to be buying the July 31st 237.50 put. This we're going to be doing for a 50-cent credit. And that is the fourth trade that we're going to be doing. That 240 strike puts us way down here. Feel very, very comfortable because this stock, if it floats back into this compression, it's probably going to stay in the compression for a while. We're still a long ways away from earnings. That July 31st expiration date, mind you, during that week, we've got all sorts of big tech companies announcing. Google, Apple, all the big tech companies. So I think the bid is going to remain strong throughout the course of that week. So I don't think that we're going to get blindsided by the market. And then these options should expire on July 31st. So if you go into the staged order entry screen, which I'll do right now, you can take a look at the trades that are posted on July 15th. These are going to be the ones that you want to use for the staged order entry. I have the correct expirations on all these. So let me recap a couple of small details in here. On that TWLO trade, we are only looking for a 40-cent credit. On the RH trade, we are using the July 31st expiration, not the July 24th expiration as we did in the others. Now, we will leave the RH trade out there past this Friday if we are not filled. And I will update it Sunday night if I need to. I will update it next Wednesday if I need to. We can either cancel it or we can keep trying to fill it. I will let you know what we need to do with it. But these three orders here, TWLO, PayPal, Facebook, if we are not filled on these by the close Friday, cancel the order. We do not want to fill on these Monday morning. So we've got 2 days to try and get these 3 trades off. And last week I showed you 6 trades. I figured I really wanted to get filled on 1 or 2 of them. We got filled on 2 of them. Once you're filled on 2 of them, I don't want to have a whole bunch of risk exposure right now. So I was happy to cancel the other 4. We've got 2 trades on right now. One of them's a little bit of a problem child. And you can already see how just one little trade that's off is already requiring some attention. If you have 3 or 4 trades like that, now you're monitoring those 4 stocks all day and you are not looking for new opportunities. That's the real problem with having positions on ahead of market weakness. Ideally, you are in cash. You're not having to watch anything except for the market and to search for really good looking stocks. That's where we want to be. So those are the 4 trades for this week, but I want to spend just a little bit of time. I want to talk about this search right here that shows us these stocks that have a tendency to move higher into earnings. If I go into the custom search, you can see that there is a field here, pre-earnings bull. Well, if I click it right now, this is going to mirror this list. But I asked my programmer tonight, I said, I don't need 2 of the same list. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take this pre-earnings bull and just show me the stocks that have a tendency to rally into the earnings announcement. That way I can come in and I can change the projected earnings date so that I don't just have to go out 2 weeks with this. Maybe I want to go out to the Friday the 31st expiration, and now I can check to see which stocks fit this parameter and have a tendency to rally 2 weeks ahead of the numbers. So I'm going just a little bit further out, but I'm starting to already line those trades up. I think this is going to give us a lot of added flexibility. So that's one thing that you can do. I also want to mention a feature that we have, a couple of features. Earnings season starting to crank up. Next week we're going to be in high gear. This is a great search if you're a day trader. This after earnings, we're in the bullish column. After earnings bull. These are stocks that announced after the close yesterday or before the open today, and that are above the prior day's high. On these stocks, when you're trading earnings, what you want is you want something that's not too far out of the gate. I don't want to see a 10% runner, because usually those stocks will sit flat for a while. But if you get a stock that gaps a little bit higher, and then you see 3 long green candles stacked one on top of each other right out of the gate, that stock wants to go. But you got to be on it early. You've got to be on it early. This is a great search to use. I've also noticed that some of you are trading earnings and you're holding over the number. I don't do that personally. That's not my style of trading. I feel that's a crapshoot. But if some of you feel that there's a statistical edge for you and you like to trade that, make sure that you check out this pre-earnings option tab. Here you can see all the statistics on how these stocks perform historically into the number. So for instance, BAC, Bank of America, you can see the expected move is 4%. The average move is 1.85%. The times that it's been exceeded over the course of the last 12 quarters is 20% of the time. You can also see the implied volatility, the put call ratios. You've got all this information at your fingertips, the option liquidity. And if you want to, you can just go into this and see, oh, here's who releases after the close today and before the open tomorrow. Any big names? Anything I should be aware of? Any tangent plays? Those are the types of questions you should be asking yourself, and that's the way that you can prepare for earnings season. And this list will grow dramatically. So make sure that you keep an eye on it. That is the pre-earnings options tab. That's about all I've got for you tonight. We need to keep it light here. The market's stuck in a trading range. I feel that we're going to get through earnings season with a pretty decent bid. I think we go higher through July. We start getting in the middle of August. I see some problems ahead. I hope to be mainly in a cash position by then. Then let the chips fall where they may. If we get a vaccine all of a sudden and everybody's excited and the coronavirus growth rate is going down and the economic numbers are still coming in fine and the helicopter drops are happening and the market's taking out this relative high at 324, no problem. We can get on board then. But if my suspicion is correct and we start to see some market weakness, we're going to be very, very happy that we're on the sidelines, because when that low is finally established, there's probably going to be a really good opportunity for us to reload on some of the stocks that we really like. We'll be watching from the sidelines. We won't have that risk. So if you're watching this video tonight on YouTube, not necessarily tonight, but if you're watching the video on YouTube, I release it to the public on Saturdays. I post this to my members on Wednesday nights so that we all have an opportunity to get in on the trade. Take a look at how these stocks have performed over the course of the last few days. Chances are they're all going to be moving higher. We use a systematic approach to find them. You've seen it in action tonight. So there's a lot of good information in this video. Try and identify the patterns that we're looking for and the way that we structure our bullish put spreads. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of these videos. Also, please make sure, I'll have it in the description, that you check out my Twitter page, because I am posting my pre-open market comments there along with an early stock trade. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers, and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.